Just a final thought on 2 Kings chapter 7 before we move on to the third aspect of the hut that I wanted to talk about. In 2 Kings chapter 7, these 4 men with leprosy, they can take no part in the system, the city as it is, sort of representing the self-preservation of the people. And they go out while we just sat round here, and they find out that the enemy isn't actually encircling the city at all. And what they stumble across is incredible. The spoils of the camp, God had intervened supernaturally, and these 4 unexpected men arrive, and it says here in verse 8, they came to the edge of the camp where they expected to find the enemy. When they went into it, they found tents, and they ate and drank, and there was silver and gold and clothing, and they took them, and they went from tent to tent, and they took the things and they hid them. And then they said to each other, "We're not doing what's right. This is a day of good news. We can't keep this to ourselves." I think, first of all, obviously that's a challenge, right? So us in our church life, which rightfully we love hanging around with the people that Jesus has given us to hang around with, of all ages, of all backgrounds. I love that about my church family. But we can be a little bit like these 4 men with leprosy, that we are given this amazing opportunity to be in the community of faith, to hear things which are nourishing and true, to go to places to worship and to experience the Spirit. And we can be a bit like these men with leprosy, who first of all just went from tent to tent to tent, just taking. And we know that Jesus wants us to feed. The invitation of God all the time is, come and taste and see that I'm good. That's fine. But there becomes a point, and even these guys realized it. It's like, how many times are we going to go from tent to tent to tent to tent until we realize that these things are not only for us, they're meant to be shared. And that's so often actually why people who come to faith within the first year or so, they are the best people at sharing faith, because it's new and fresh and they're feeding. And quite quickly and naturally, even supernaturally, they realize, I can't just keep this to myself. I've got to tell my mates. And we need to be challenged, remembering what some of us used to be like when we first discovered this good news, as the word in 2 Kings 7 reminds us. This is a day of good news. What we're doing is not right, keeping it to ourselves. So again, just as I wrap up this first bit by explaining what the hut is and why Jesus asks us to go beyond the walls of the hut, to really experience the mission that he calls us to really bless people beyond our comfort zones and across the pain line and of awkwardness for ourselves particularly. I hope that really encourages you. I hope it's a prompt to go back and read 2 Kings chapter 7, perhaps even that bit in Hebrews 13, verse 5 we were talking about in the very first video. Perhaps even going back to the Great Commission, where Jesus says, you've got authority, but it's in the going. There's lots to challenge us. There's lots to comfort us, because as we go, as uncomfortable as it can feel, as awkward as it can feel, particularly with those people closest to us. I'm a preacher. I've stood up in front of, I think, 5,000 people on one occasion, and you don't know any of them. And it's quite easy just to stand there and belt stuff out and talk about what's real for you. But then the conversation with the family member, and to look them in the eye and says, I want to pray about this with you, or I just want you to know that God loves you. They're some of the hardest conversations. That's us crossing the pain line, but we have good news, and it's meant to be shared. So why not with those closest to us? Because that's where God's put us. Lots of love, guys. Keep going.